It is the first week of March 2026, and this is a week that has fundamentally altered the artificial intelligence landscape for you and your business.
Yeah, it really has.
We are looking at a massive $50 billion partnership between AWS and OpenAI. We are seeing a profound shift toward autonomous, stateful AI.
The kind of AI that actually remembers everything you do.
Right, and sobering as it is, we have a geopolitical incident that literally shook physical data centers.
Yes, the physical reality of the cloud came into sharp focus this week.
Our mission today is simple. We are going to cut through the noise. We are delivering a newsroom-style deep dive, exclusively focused on Amazon Bedrock AI updates published between March 1st and March 7th, 2026. Okay, let's unpack this.
The convergence of software updates and physical infrastructure shifts this week matters immensely to your own AI strategies.
Because we're not just looking at iterative model upgrades anymore, are we?
No, we are seeing the enterprise AI stack solidify into autonomous persistent systems. The decisions being made right now dictate how your data is secured, how your AI agents operate, and how your cloud architecture survives physical disruptions in the real world.
And we will deliver the facts, clear and direct, so you can understand exactly what is changing.
Precisely.
Let us kick things off with the research and model updates. We had a massive one drop globally on March 7th.
From Class Method Developer CO.
Yes, according to their report, the headline is that Claude Opus 4.6 and 6 new open-weight models have joined Bedrock.
It is a significant expansion.
Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6 is now live and fully managed on the platform. But the really interesting part is the addition of those high-performance open-weight models, including DeepSeek V3.2 and GLM 4.7.
What happened here is that AWS dramatically expanded Bedrock's flexibility. It offers you both frontier-level intelligence and specialized open models.
Which means you can precisely tailor cost and performance for diverse AI workloads.
Exactly. The inclusion of models like DeepSeek represents a broader industry shift toward maximizing model optionality.
You are no longer locked into a single ecosystem.
Or a single price point.
Before we move on, I want to clarify something for anyone listening who might be dealing with tight budget constraints.
Go ahead.
When we talk about this optionality, we mean you can route highly complex reasoning tasks to a premium model like Claude Opus 4.6.
Right.
But for routine, high-volume tasks, you can just send those to an open-weight model to save on compute costs. Right.
That is exactly the strategy. And that flexibility becomes even more powerful with another global update reported by Class Method Developers Yo on that same day, March 7th.
The reinforcement learning update.
Yes. The headline is that reinforcement learning fine-tuning for open-weight models is now on Bedrock. AWS introduced a new API supporting this for popular open-weight models via OpenAI-compatible interfaces.
So you can get immediate on-demand inference without any extra deployment steps.
That is what happened, yes.
Reinforcement learning is a term that gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
We are used to standard supervised fine-tuning, where we just feed the model a bunch of examples and ask it to copy them.
Right. Supervised fine-tuning teaches a model to mimic a pattern.
How does this new reinforcement approach actually change what the model does for a business?
Well, reinforcement learning teaches a model to achieve a specific goal through trial and feedback.
So it is more about the outcome.
Exactly. Why it matters is that bringing this capability directly to open-weight models on Bedrock gives developers a powerful new mechanism to customize model behavior and performance for specific tasks.
It allows you to align AI outputs much more closely with your specific business objectives right there on the platform.
Moving beyond standard supervised fine-tuning.
That actually ties directly into how we manage and secure these customized models. Let's move over to product and developer platform updates.
We had a major release on March 3rd.
We did. Multi-region across 13 different AWS regions. AWS What's New reported the headline. Policy in Amazon Bedrock AgentCore reaches general availability.
This is a big one for governance.
What happened is that teams can now author natural language policies that automatically convert to the Cedar open source language to govern how agents interact with tools.
What's fascinating here is the brilliant separation of security policy from developer code.
Previously, developers had to hard code permissions and access rules directly into the agent's logic, right?
They did. Now, your security and compliance teams can write rules in plain English. The AgentCore gateway automatically translates those into the Cedar language.
Which is a standard grammar for defining permissions.
Exactly, and it intercepts every request. Why this matters is that it allows your security teams to enforce deterministic safety guardrails entirely outside of the agent's code.
So think of the AgentCore gateway like a bouncer at a club.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Instead of the bartender, who represents the developer, having to check everyone's ID while also trying to make drinks, the bouncer stands at the door with a plain English VIP list.
And the governance team is the bouncer.
Right. The agent never even sees a request it is not allowed to handle.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it. It is a structural shift in how you secure autonomous agents at an enterprise scale via the AgentCore gateway.
Speaking of enterprise scale and access, let us talk about visibility.
On March 2nd, we saw a global launch.
Covered by the AWS News Blog and AWS Weekly Roundup. The headline: OpenAI Compatible Projects API in Amazon Bedrock.
Bedrock now supports the project's API in the Mantle inference engine.
What happened is that this allows for logical isolation, distinct identity and access management controls, and tag-based cost tracking across multiple applications.
Why it matters is that this API allows large enterprises to easily migrate existing OpenAI workloads while seamlessly managing costs and access across segregated internal teams at no additional charge.
So until now, enterprise teams using generative AI were basically sharing one giant corporate credit card.
Which is a nightmare for
It
accounting.
was incredibly difficult to see if the marketing department or the human resources department was burning through the compute budget.
Right.
This API finally hands out individual tracked cards to every department while utilizing the Mantle inference engine to handle the back-end processing.
Precisely. When you scale AI across an enterprise, that visibility is critical. The marketing team and the finance team might use the exact same foundation model, but this ensures you know exactly who is spending what.
And it enforces strict data boundaries between those teams.
The accounting department will definitely appreciate that one.
But what about smaller scale deployments or individual developers wanting to run autonomous agents?
On March 4th, the AWS News blog announced a global update regarding that.
The headline: OpenClaw AI agents on Amazon Lightsail powered by Bedrock.
AWS launched a pre-configured instance blueprint for OpenClaw on Lightsail.
Deploying private autonomous AI agents that natively use Amazon Bedrock as the default model provider.
With a recommended 4 GB memory instance, this significantly lowers the barrier for developers.
That is why it matters. It is for developers wanting to securely run real-world AI assistants capable of web browsing and messaging app integration.
Running autonomous agents locally presents real security risks.
Especially if those agents are browsing the live internet.
Exactly. This blueprint acts as a secure sandbox. It isolates the agent in a private cloud instance,
Giving you the power of an assistant that can execute complex web tasks without exposing your local internal network to unexpected agent behaviors.
It balances accessibility with necessary isolation.
And looking at practical business applications, we saw another major global release on March 4th.
From the AWS Machine Learning blog,
The headline: Call Center Analytics Demo using Amazon Nova on Bedrock.
the AWS Generative AI Innovation Center released a comprehensive guide and a demo application.
Showcasing how to build advanced single-call and multi-call analytics using Amazon Nova foundation models.
Why it matters is that organizations can adopt this pre-built architecture to modernize custom customer support backends.
Empowering managers with insights automatically extracted from massive contact center workloads.
The Nova models excel at long-horizon reasoning.
This architecture demonstrates two levels of analysis, right?
It does. Single-call analytics transcribe and evaluate one specific interaction. But more importantly, multi-call analytics look across thousands of separate interactions.
To identify systemic issues or emerging market trends.
Having a pre-built architecture provides a direct, accelerated path for businesses to implement that capability.
That emphasis on secure, enterprise-grade deployment flows right into our infrastructure updates.
On March 7th, Class Method Developers EO globally reported a critical networking update.
The headline: AWS Private Link now supports Project Mantle for Bedrock.
What happened is that AWS Private Link can now access Bedrock Mantle API endpoints.
Meaning customers can invoke OpenAI-compatible APIs on Bedrock completely privately.
Why this matters is that it ensures your enterprise traffic never traverses the public internet.
Dramatically enhancing security and compliance for sensitive AI workloads.
If you are processing financial data, healthcare records, or proprietary code, public internet exposure is unacceptable.
Private Link establishes a direct, secure connection from your virtual private cloud straight to the Bedrock API.
It is a fundamental requirement if you are dealing with strict compliance frameworks.
And staying on the topic of safety and governance, AWS published a comprehensive configuration guide on March 2nd.
Detailed on the AWS machine learning blog.
Global availability. The headline: Best Practices for Amazon Bedrock Guardrails.
AWS published a comprehensive configuration guide covering policy selection and safeguard tiers.
And it introduces 4 specific filter strengths, right?
Yes, ranging from none to high H to balance safety and performance.
Why it matters is that it equips teams to mitigate risks, like prompt attacks, hallucinations, and personally identifiable information leaks.
All while maintaining strict compliance in production Gen AI apps.
By tuning those filter strengths, you get to define your organization's exact risk tolerance.
The guide essentially provides the operational playbook needed to deploy these protections without breaking the end-user experience.
But as we transition to physical security, we have a major, sobering incident to report that goes far beyond software guardrails.
Yes, on March 2nd, Reuters reported a severe physical disruption in the Middle East.
The headline: AWS data center outage in UAE and Bahrain.
Drone strikes caused structural and power damage to 2 AWS data centers in the United Arab Emirates and 1 facility in Bahrain,
Leading to immediate outages in core cloud services, including access to Bedrock-hosted models like Claude.
That is what happened.
So what does this all mean?
Factually speaking, this unprecedented physical disruption highlights severe geopolitical risks to AI infrastructure.
And why it matters is that it necessitates accelerated multi-region redundancy for critical Bedrock workloads.
Cloud infrastructure is ultimately tied to physical geography. The data center sustained real structural damage, massive power disruptions, and secondary water damage from their own fire suppression systems.
It is a stark reminder that the cloud actually lives in physical buildings on the ground.
It is, and this incident underscores a critical reality for anyone building on these platforms. Digital redundancy is an absolute requirement in a physically volatile world.
If your business relies on continuous access to AI models hosted on Bedrock, your architecture must include automated failover protocols.
Protocols that span multiple distinct geographic regions. Relying on a single data center location is a single point of failure.
We also have to manage the life cycle of the models themselves, not just the physical buildings they run in.
Which brings us to a global update from March 1st.
Via Soracom product updates. The headline: Amazon Bedrock Anthropic Claude 3.5 Sonnet end of service.
Soracom announced that the Claude 3.5 Sonnet model on Amazon Bedrock officially ended service on their Flux AI Actions platform,
Disabling any automated actions utilizing this specific model.
Why it matters is that it serves as a stark reminder for developers that you must actively manage model lifecycles.
And migrate to newer architectures to avoid abrupt service disruptions.
Foundation models are not static software. They have defined deprecation dates.
If you're a developer who hard-coded Claude 3.5 Sonnet into your backend last year, you need to listen up, because as of March 1st, those specific API calls are failing.
You have to build applications with modular architectures.
So you can seamlessly swap in newer models like the Claude Opus 4.6 we discussed earlier, well before these deadlines hit.
That modularity is key to survival in this ecosystem.
Finally, we reach our last segment covering massive partnerships and enterprise adoption. The news here is absolutely staggering.
On March 2nd, IT Brief and the AWS Weekly Roundup reported a global development that reshapes the market.
The headline: AWS invests $50 billion in OpenAI, partners on stateful runtime for Bedrock.
Amazon announced a $50 billion investment in OpenAI, with $15 billion delivered upfront.
The goal is to co-create a stateful runtime environment on Bedrock.
And for AWS to become the exclusive third-party distributor for OpenAI frontier models.
Here's where it gets really interesting. With OpenAI committing to consume approximately 2 gigawatts of AWS Trainium capacity, this deal deeply integrates OpenAI's models with AWS infrastructure,
Positioning Bedrock as the ultimate enterprise distribution channel. That is why it matters so much.
Let us talk about that power consumption. 2 gigawatts of power.
It is an immense figure.
To put that into perspective without exaggerating, that is the equivalent electrical output of a large nuclear power plant.
Yes.
And it is entirely dedicated to training and running these AI models on AWS's custom silicon chips.
It is an infrastructural marvel. To power a true stateful runtime environment, you need that kind of raw, dedicated electricity.
Because traditional large language model interactions are stateless.
Meaning the model forgets the conversation the moment the session ends.
A stateful runtime fundamentally changes that.
It allows the model to retain context indefinitely. It remembers prior work, operates seamlessly across different software tools, and manages ongoing complex workflows.
It transitions AI from being a simple query and response chatbot into a persistent, contextual operating system for the entire enterprise.
Exactly. It knows what you worked on yesterday and applies it to what you are doing today.
And to see how this level of advanced integration plays out in the real world today, we have our final story.
On March 3rd, the AWS Machine Learning blog highlighted a case study from Australia.
The headline: Lendi Group built AI-powered home loan guardian with Amazon Bedrock.
Australian fintech Lendi Group launched a home loan guardian built on Amazon Bedrock in just 16 weeks.
To streamline mortgage refinancing using multiple specialized AI agents.
Mortgage refinancing is heavily regulated, it is document intensive, and it is highly complex.
Which is exactly why this matters. This deployment proves how highly regulated financial enterprises can successfully operationalize agentic AI using Bedrock.
They drastically reduce their cycle times while maintaining strict legal and financial compliance.
By utilizing specialized agents, Lendi Group automated large portions of a workflow that traditionally required immense manual oversight.
It provides a blueprint demonstrating that generative AI can securely handle high-stakes operations.
When properly architected with tools like Bedrock guardrails.
Precisely.
And that wraps up our coverage of the source material for this week. Just to summarize the sheer massive scale of what we have discussed today.
It has been a historic week.
You have Amazon making a $50 billion investment in OpenAI to build stateful AI runtimes that never forget your context.
You have the launch of centralized AgentCore policies that use plain English to completely change how security teams manage autonomous agents.
And we are dealing with literal drone strikes impacting the physical data centers in the Middle East that power these very models.
The physical and digital worlds are colliding.
Amazon Bedrock is undeniably sitting at the very center of this global AI shift.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, consider what all these updates point toward. With stateful runtimes holding onto context indefinitely, and agent policies independently executing security decisions on server-side gateways without any developer intervention, we are crossing a vital threshold.
A completely new era of computing.
At what point does cloud infrastructure stop being a passive tool that simply waits for our commands and start becoming an active, autonomous workforce capable of self-directed operation?
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the architecture of autonomy.